32 في عندنا 25 اذار نعتبره خط احمر.
نحن ما حدا يلعب معه.
Good afternoon on this Sunday, January 5th. I'm Yumna Naufal and these are today's headlines. Calm returns to the northern Lebanese city of Tripoli after limited overnight clashes between supporters and opponents of Syrian President Bashar al-Assad left 4 people wounded. Rebels fighting in Syria have given rivals from an al-Qaeda affiliate 24 hours to surrender, according to activists in the country. And U.S. Secretary of State John Kerry says any Middle East peace plan would be fair and balanced as he seeks to counter Israeli and Palestinian claims the U.S. is biased towards the other side. Calm has returned to the northern Lebanese city of Tripoli after limited overnight clashes between supporters and opponents of Syrian President Bashar al-Assad left 4 people wounded. The casualties, all wounded by sniper fire, exchanged between Bab al-Tabbani and Jabal al-Muhsin, were identified as Layla Ramadan, Talib Deeb, Mariana Sheikh and Muhammad Zafir. As well as sniping, hand grenades and rocket-propelled grenades were also fired from the 2 sides in the weekend clashes, which prompted the Lebanese army measures, including responding to the sources of fire and establishing military checkpoints on roads leading to the restive neighborhoods. The fighting subsided at around 3 a.m. this morning, but intermittent gunfire could be heard in the 2 neighborhoods and their surrounding areas until dawn. Maronite Patriarch Shaddai is reiterating that rival officials should engage in dialogue to confront the security dangers and political crises gripping the country. He said in his Sunday sermon during Mass he held in Kirke that he prayed for stability in the country, which on the second day of New Year fell in grief over the Harit Tahrik bombing. Arai said the bombings should move the conscience of officials to engage in dialogue and stop booby-trapped cars that are roaming around cities. The Patriarch regretted that the criminal hands of Takfiris had targeted Lebanon's culture in the northern city of Tripoli. He was referring to the torching of a Greek Orthodox priest, Father Ibrahim Sarouj's historical library. The attack on the decades-old library came after reports claimed that the priest had published an article deemed insulting to Islam, but that was refuted. In other news, North Lebanon MP Khalid Dahir is voicing doubt that one of his constituents was the suicide bomber involved in the recent deadly bombing in the southern suburbs of Harit Tahrik. There are a lot of surrounding doubts, the bombing, and given there are the body of reports that Satem was placed in the car, the Akkad MP said, referring to Qataiba Muhammad al-Satem, who the Lebanese authorities identified as the suicide bomber behind the January 2 attack in the southern suburbs of Beirut. Satem, who hailed from Akkad, was identified from identification documents found among the debris of shops and cars destroyed in the bombing in the Harit Tahrik neighborhood of the southern suburbs of Beirut that has claimed the lives of 4 people. Officials are saying they knew about the car that exploded in Harit Tahrik for days. The car had been roaming in the country and they knew about it, and this makes one skeptical, Dahir said, speaking during a news conference from his residence in north of Lebanon. Rebels fighting in Syria have given rivals from an al-Qaeda affiliate 24 hours to surrender, according to activists in the country. Saturday's ultimatum comes amid days of deadly infighting between the Islamic State of Iraq and the Levant and other opponents of Syrian President Bashar al-Assad in 2 northern provinces, Idlib and Aleppo. The Britain-based Syrian Observatory for Human Rights said rebels from an alliance of Islamist groups attacked positions of the fighters from ISIL, killing and capturing dozens of people on Saturday. The ISIL has been blamed for brutal killings in areas under their control, turning many local residents against them and leading to a growing resistance to the al-Qaeda-linked group's grip on several areas of the country. 16 ISIL fighters were reportedly killed in the fighting in Aleppo and nearby Idlib on Friday, while at least 42 other ones were wounded in Idlib alone. U.S. Secretary of State John Kerry says any Middle East peace plan would be fair and balanced as he seeks to counter Israeli and Palestinian claims the U.S. is biased towards the other side. And on a day of whirlwind diplomacy, flying thousands of miles between key Arab allies, the top U.S. diplomat likened his intense efforts to broker a deal to a puzzle. In the end, all of these core issues fit together like a mosaic, like a puzzle, and you can't separate one piece from the other, Kerry told reporters in Jerusalem before flying to Amman early on Sunday and later Saudi Arabia seeking backing for his proposals. But he warned his efforts could ultimately fail, saying he could not tell when the last pieces may decide to fall into place. He has already spent 3 intense days shuttling between Israel's Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu and Palestinian President Mahmoud Abbas. Still on Israel, former Israeli Prime Minister Ariel Sharon is facing imminent death, according to the Tel Aviv hospital where he is in critical condition. The health of the 85-year-old Sharon, who was dubbed the bulldozer, both for his style and physique, has been worsening since Wednesday when he suffered serious kidney problems after surgery. And on Sunday, the director of Tel Aviv Hashomer Hospital said Sharon is still in danger of imminent death, although his heart is holding out better than expected. On Friday, the hospital said that there were traces of infection in Sharon's blood and that it had not been possible for him to undergo renal dialysis since his other organs were in such a fragile state. The longtime leader of the right-wing nationalist camp in Israeli politics, he suffered a massive stroke on January 4th, 2006, slipping into a coma from which he has not recovered. Coming up next, U.S. President Barack Obama ends his vacation in sunny Hawaii while his wife remains there alone for her birthday. Stay with us. Welcome back. 2 days of clashes between Shia rebels and Sunni tribesmen fighting alongside hardline Salafists in northern Yemen have killed at least 23 people. Fighting has centered for months on a Salafist mosque and Quranic school in Damai, which has been besieged by the Shia rebels known as Houthis. The conflict has spread in the northern provinces, embroiling Sunni tribes wary of the power of the Houthis, who have repeatedly been accused of receiving support from Iran. 7 people were killed at Harf Sufyan in the northern province of Amran, another tribal chief said, while 2 others died of shelling of Damaj in Sada province, according to Salafist websites. Houthi rebels this week took over positions evacuated by Salafist gunmen in the area of Kitaf, north of Sada city, and witnesses said, adding that rebels demolished the Salafist Dar al-Hadith religious view. Iraqi Prime Minister Nouri Maliki has vowed to eliminate all terrorist groups from Anbar province after al-Qaeda-linked fighters gained control of the town of Fallujah. Maliki, speaking on state television on Saturday, said his government would end fitna or disunity in the province and would not back down until all terrorist groups are saved and people in Anbar. His comments come after a senior Iraqi security official told the AFP news agency that the government had lost control of Fallujah to fighters from the Islamic State of Iraq and the Levant. The police chief of Anbar, Hadi Razij, later said the center of Fallujah had fallen completely into the hands of ISIL fighters. The walls of the city are in the hands of police force, but the people of Fallujah are still the prisoners of ISIL. Now, thousands of anti-government protesters marched through the Thai capital on Sunday, a prelude to a broader action next week when they say they will shut down Bangkok in their bid to scuttle a February election and topple the prime minister. Yingluck Shinawatra, the prime minister, according to the protesters, are accusing him of being the puppet of her self-exiled brother and former premier Thaksin Shinawatra, and they want an appointed People's Council to oversee a vague reform platform which includes electoral reform, decentralizing power, and a volunteer police force who over a 12-month period before any future election would oversee the process. The crisis and outbreak of turmoil stretching back 8 years began in November and has become a drag on the Thai economy. Police in Bangladesh fired at protesters and opposition activists, torched more than 100 polling stations during a national election boycotted by the opposition and described as flawed by the international community. At least 11 people were killed in election-related violence. Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina's refusal to heed opposition demands to step down and appoint a neutral caretaker to oversee the election led to the boycott, undermining the legitimacy of the vote. Opposition activists have staged attacks, strikes, and transportation blockades and unrest that has left at least 286 people dead since last year. Police opened fire to stop protesters from seizing a polling center in Bangladesh northern Rangpur district, killing 2 people, according to authorities. U.S. President Barack Obama has ended his vacation in sunny Hawaii and boarded Air Force One for a flight back home to Chile, Washington. Obama arrived in his native Hawaii on December 21st, along with his wife Michelle and daughters Sasha and Malia. Obama left Honolulu's joint base Pearl Harbor, Hickam, with his daughters, who likely have school tomorrow, but not Michelle. As part of her birthday gift from the president, the First Lady will remain in Hawaii to spend time with friends ahead of her upcoming 50th birthday, according to a brief White House statement. Michelle Obama's birthday is on January 17. The president and his family stayed at a rented house near a U.S. Marine Corps base on the northeastern coast of the island of Oahu, located about 20 kilometers from the state capital, Honolulu, where Obama was born. The president played several rounds of golf at the Marine base with friends and colleagues, including White House Chief Sam Kass. Warner Brothers has released a trailer for the upcoming Veronica Mars movie based on the popular and critically acclaimed TV series of the same name. The film was made possible by a record-breaking Kickstarter campaign launched by the show's creator Rob Thomas, who wrote and directed the movie, and its star Kristen Bell. In its 31-day campaign, it raised $5.7 million from the crowdfunding site, making Veronica Mars the #1 funded project in the film category on Kickstarter and the third highest funded project in its history. The movie will open in limited release on March 14.
You were issued a private investigator's license for your 18th birthday? What do you think that says about a person?
Compulsive, addictive personality, but that's not me anymore.
My daughter, the big shot New York lawyer. You're destined for greatness.
I've oversold you. My parents don't think that I could have landed a creature such as the one that I've described.
Local authorities have ruled the death a homicide and are focusing their investigation on her boyfriend, Logan Eccles.
I need your help, Veronica.
I don't really do that anymore.
What's this? I specifically told the agency an eager to please brunette.
Dick.
Hey Logan, that girl who follows you around is here.
9 years of radio silence, and yet I still kind of knew I could count on you.
We are going to the reunion.
I'm shocked you even came to this. I knew you'd be here. You've been sitting there since graduation, haven't you?
Veronica Mars.
Look who it is. Most likely to blog and class buzzkill.
You are just who I was looking for, most likely to know where I can find the bar. Gross.
No.
Veronica, this is the whole case file. How'd you get this? I'm sure you know breaking and entering is a felony?
Come on. I knew the felonies before I knew the state capitals.
So, you gonna ask if I did it?
I wouldn't be here if I thought you did.
America thinks he's guilty, and that's good enough for me. I know Logan has his qualities, but there's a darkness to that kid.
There's just so much going on here right now. I just couldn't leave.
Sure you could.
Wait. Don't go. I'm on to something, Dad. It's big.
Just the tip of the iceberg. Everyone is on the take.
Veronica, whatever you're doing,
Please be careful.
Come on. My needs are simple.
What are you gonna do? Just stand down on me? Don't you think that's gotten a bit old? Original enough for ya?
This marks the end of our bulletin for today. Now for a reminder of our top stories. Calm returns to the northern Lebanese city of Tripoli after limited overnight clashes between supporters and opponents of Syrian President Bashar al-Assad left 4 people wounded. Rebels fighting in Syria have given rivals from an al-Qaeda affiliate 24 hours to surrender, according to activists in the country. And U.S. Secretary of State John Kerry says any Middle East peace process would be fair and balanced as he seeks to counter Israeli and Palestinian claims the U.S. is biased towards one or the other. Those are your Sunday headlines live on Future Television. Have a great week ahead and tune in tomorrow at 4:20 for the latest with Linda Tamir.
في عندنا 25 أذار نعتبره خط أحمر.
نحن ما حدا يلعب معنا.